My reign as a Jeopardy champion lasted almost 35 minutes.
This was coming, like the waiting room of the vasectomist, and I know that's not what he's called. I know there's like a fancy word, but...
If you leave, I have nothing left to live for.
So it's August and it's 1971 and Richard Nixon is president, but Watergate hasn't happened yet. But still, politics is a boiling cauldron. Young men are being drafted. They're not in college, but they're being sent to Vietnam to fight and die in a war that they don't understand. The gulf between fathers and sons, this generation gap, has never been wider. Rock music is nothing but anti-war screeds. It's 1971. But in a small island in southern New Jersey, the real Jersey Shore, none of this matters. It's the end of the Little League season, and my team is in the championship game. It's a best-of-3 series, and we're tied at 1 game apiece. We play in this beautiful fenced-in field that's 2 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean, and from that place you can hear the roar of the ocean, the crashing of the waves. You can hear the seagulls overhead, like while the game is being played. And my team is playing for the Greater Wildwood Little League World Series Championship against the always powerful Scrivani Buick. We'd never won before, and they were the defending champs. And my team was like this cast of characters, like straight out of the movie The Sandlot, right? So there's Danny Kane. He's our captain. He's our leader. He's 12, going on 25. There's Timmy Mason, an 11-year-old catcher with cat-like agility. My best friend is the right fielder. His name is Howie Cardace, and he's the goofiest looking kid. His ears stick out, and his hair's a mess. And out in left field is Tommy Carlson. He's this long, lean, and lanky kid, and he's awkward, and his elbows are always going all over the place when he runs. I'm in center field. My cousin Billy is playing shortstop, and at second base is this 10-year-old, this squat, round, heavy 10-year-old, aptly named Buddy Tarbotton. And Buddy has a vertical leap of exactly 0. Not leaping. And then there's our manager. His name is Cesar Calamasini. He is an old world son of Italian immigrants. He's a jackleg carpenter. He's a shitty carpenter. He really was. My dad hired him, and all his work stunk. But he loved coaching Little League, and he really understood baseball, and he was a great coach. And he loved us like sons, and he rode us like juvenile delinquents. And he would pick all of us up before a game. So this was before seatbelts, right? And so all 12 of us would like jam into this ratty station wagon that he had. And we're all packed in any space there was, and we've got our gloves and our bats, and we're in our uniforms, and we're all smashed in together. And we ride to this ballpark for this game. So let's get to the action. It's the 5th inning, and we are losing 5-4. It's 2 outs, and I come up to bat. There are 2 men on base, and nobody's very hopeful because I'm a really good center fielder. I'm good because I'm fast, and I can chase down a ball and catch it when other kids sort of let those things drop for base hits. But at the plate, not so much. I'm batting about 300, and if any of you remember Little League, like 300 is terrible. Like Danny Kane, our captain and hero, he's batting 750 with these towering home runs that would clear the outfield fence, and I swear a couple of them splashed into the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm nervous as hell, and I dig in at home plate, and I'm pretty sure that I'm going to screw this up. And the first 2 pitches come over, and I just watch them, and they're both strikes. And I'm behind 0-2. And this next pitch comes in, and it's just slow and fat and right over the middle, and I think, swing at this one. And I do, but I swing late. And instead of a confident shot into center field or pulling it out into left, I loop this ball like right over the first baseman's head, and it lands just fair, and it rolls out into the outfield. And remember, I'm pretty fast, And so I take off and I round first base and I find myself standing on second base like this, a stand-up double. And I really remember, I vividly remember standing on second base and just clapping like this, like this was the most natural place for me to be. I'd spent a lot of time on second base this season. I had not. But I drove in 2 runs, and we're winning 6-5. Now again, if you remember Little League, it's only 6 innings, and now we go into the last inning, and it's kind of tense. And we got Danny Kane on the mound. He's our pitcher, and he's in a zone. The first 2 batters go down swinging. We are 1 out away from our very first Greater Wildwood Little League World Series championship. And then the Scrivani Buick manager, he does something really savvy. He looks down at the end of the bench and he points to this little kid, a 9-year-old, by the name of Billy Fury. And I remember his name. His name was Billy Fury. He was about this tall. And I remember seeing from center field, the manager, instructing Billy Fury what to do when he got in the batter's box, which was to scrunch over and make his strike zone about this big, about 1 inch. The ball was wider than Billy Fury's strike zone. And Danny Kane is like, what do I do with this? And he walks him on 4 pitches. And suddenly, the tying run is on first base. And I can see from center field, I can almost sense it, that Danny Kane, who always had it together, remember 12 going on 25, he's really shook because there's another midget on the team, there's another 9-year-old at the end of the bench who gets sent up to bat, again, scrunched over with a strike zone like this big. And Danny Kane throws a wild pitch. And as good as Timmy Mason is at catcher, he can't catch that ball, and he can't block it, and he can't trap it, and it gets past him. And I remember him tearing off his mask and turning around and chasing that ball to the backstop. And at that moment, things start to happen, right? Billy Fury takes off for second base, but Cesar Calhamsini, he was a good coach. We're all trained, and instinct all kicks in. So the round and squat and kind of rotund Buddy Tarbotton, he moves to second base because it's where he needs to be. And I've been trained too as a center fielder. I've got to move up from mid center field. I've got to back up the center, the second baseman in case something goes wrong. So I'm about 15 feet behind Buddy Tarbotton, and I can see Timmy Mason. He's got the ball, and he's like, this game is over. I'm going to nail this kid at second base, and we're going to be champs. And he fires a shot so hard and so fast, and it sails over Danny Kane's head on the pitcher's mound, and it is coming to Buddy Tarbotton, but it's a little high. And you'll remember Buddy Tarbotton's vertical leap. Not happening. And he sort of waves at the ball as it goes over his head with his leather glove. But there's nothing to worry about because, I'm there. I am doing my job. I'm backing up the second baseman, just like you're supposed to do. It's all working. And I'm thinking, Cesar is going to be so proud of me because I am right in place. And while I am patting myself on the back, I'm sort of forgetting to bend over and get the ball. And so it bounces right in front of me and between my legs. And I turn around and I watch this ball that Timmy Mason had thrown with all his might sailing toward the outfield fence, the center field fence. And I hear my cousin Billy scream, "Get the goddamn ball!" And that's when everything stops. That's when everything freezes. The players on the field, frozen. Dugout, frozen. People in the stands, frozen. For all I know, everything in the world has stopped. Nixon is not being corrupt. Hippies are not burning their draft cards. And maybe, just maybe, the guns are silent in Vietnam. There are 3 things that are moving in the world. Me, Billy Fury, and that ball. And I am running after it, and I'm cursing myself, and I'm saying, Cesar is going to kill me. Caesar's going to kill me. Caesar's going to kill me. And the ball bounces up against the dead center field fence and stops. And I race up out there, and I pick it up. And then the whole cinematic thing starts to shift because now everything stops, and now it's slow motion. And my brain sort of kicks into some kind of instinct. And I rear back with my right hand, and I leap forward with my left leg, and I throw that ball as hard as I can. And everybody in the stands rises to their feet in slow motion as their heads turn from right to left to follow the trajectory of the ball. And Timmy Mason, he's doing his thing because this guy is a Johnny Bench of a Little Leaguer, if ever there was one. And he's right behind home plate. He's awaiting this throw. He's standing right behind the plate, right? And the ball is coming right to him. And it does. It comes right to him. It comes right over the plate, and he catches it. He catches it over the plate. I had thrown a strike from deep center field. A goddamn strike from the center field fence. And Timmy Mason, now we go into real time, and he turns around to his left, and he's got his knees together because he knows he's got to block the plate, and he's like, this game is over. Like, it's the second time he's saying this. This game is over. This kid's out. Except Billy Fury had already started to slide, and he was already around Timmy Mason. He's reaching out with his left leg to tie the scoring, to score the tying run, and at the very least, send this game into extra innings. Now, I need to tell you that the summer of 1971 was a really difficult time in America. I mentioned this earlier, but this rift between the patriotic fathers of a World War II era and the draft-dodging sons of the Vietnam era was so wide and so angry and so tense and often so violent. And it really was a time when our respect for authority was just vanishing, right? Like, why were we in Vietnam? And we had lost all respect for the White House, for the State House, and even in our own houses. Things were tense. America felt like a really, really dangerous place, especially for an 11-year-old like myself who liked to read the news. Except in Wildwood Crest, New Jersey, on a late summer afternoon, where a bunch of kids in flannel uniforms gathered on a diamond by the sea to slug it out for a league championship and island bragging rights. In communities like that, and in places all across the country, in those moments, and at that time, life was uncomplicated. Things were black and white. There were two teams, there was a game, there were winners and losers, and ultimately the outcome didn't really matter because at the end of the game, we all lined up together for a hot dog and a soda. And what you realize is that people came to those things and participated in those things and loved those things because the times were so tough, and it was this break, you know? It was this refuge from the turmoil of the world that we lived in. And so many people in the stands actually had sons in Vietnam. And this was a way that they could forget about it. Ah, shit, Jeff, I didn't keep it under 12 minutes, but I'm really gonna wrap it up. So what happened? Did my throw from center field get to Timmy Mason in time? Did he tag out Billy Fury? Did we win the Greater Wildwood Little League World Series championship? I jogged out of center field and into the dugout, and my manager, Cesar Colamasini, was sitting there alone at the end of the bench. Looked like he was deep in thought. Actually looked like he was pissed off. He wasn't smiling, but he cracked open a can of Schlitz. And he sees me walk into the dugout, and he waves me over. And I'm going, shit. He is going to scream at me. I mean, after all the training he gave me, I don't bend over and pick up the ball, and it goes between my legs. And I walk over to him, and he grabs me by the shirt, and he pulls me in. And he lifts that can of Schlitz, and he dribbles a few drops on my cap. And he says, "You almost lost it for us, kid. You almost cost us the championship. But man, what a play. Now get out of here.